Before we get started on this video, yes, we kept it because you guys said you liked it, or I got a few comments saying that the light definitely works. So just to bring a little pop, little essence to the video, I decided to keep it. Also, you know, I got my handy dandy notebook. I was a big Blue's Clues fan, so if you watched Blue's Clues as a kid, you get the reference. What's going on with you? It is me, Shamar Lebreton, back with you guys for another video, and today we have something very special. Just came to the studio. I'm personally excited for this video. Why? Because I've wanted something like this, or this in general, for the longest time, and I'm finally able to have it in my possession. This is a big boy. Big boy. That is the GVM. Stands for Great Video Maker Motorized Slider. I think it's the 80Q. I totally forgot the name, but it's definitely in the title of this video and the thumbnail, and probably also the description. But yes, this is the motorized slider from GVM. Now granted, there's many sliders out there, but the reason why I chose this one was, one, because it's affordable, considering sliders nowadays are very expensive, and two, it's motorized. I film by myself. This is, you know, hard for me to do on a regular basis, but I still do it anyways. But regardless, it's here and we are here to talk about it, and that's what we do on this channel. If you're into that, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment, and click that notification bell so you always know whenever I post. All right, guys, let's get into it. Let's answer the big question that we have. Why do you need a slider? Why is a slider necessary for your setup? And to answer that question simply, it's not. It's not necessary to have a slider for your setup, for your YouTube videos, or even videos in general. However, I will say, for those that want that crispy pan, tilt, movement shots in their films, kind of like documentaries, you know how when somebody's sitting, but it seems like it's moving very slow. That's where a motorized slider comes in. Now, you can get the same shot using a stabilizer or using a 3-axis gimbal like the DJI Ronin. But the reason why I got this too is because it's the smoothest of the three. If I'm being honest, trying to do it handheld, you get wobbly, you start shaking. Try to do it with a gimbal, it does go straighter. However, you have to keep the same strength, which sometimes gets annoying because sometimes I'm not the strongest guy in the world, so sometimes I might, you know, go down a little bit and try to come back up, but it's not that smooth. With a motorized slider, I don't have to worry about any of that. All I have to do is set it up on a tripod, push it left to right, and it gets me the shot that I want. It's so beautiful. Now, of course, I've had some time to play with this a little bit, so you guys will see some shots here where I use the slider to get certain shots, like the intro B-roll that you saw sliding up to the bag. That was actually me setting this up to the ground and it just going forward. Now, I know you guys in the B-roll saw like the slider a little bit in when we was zooming up to the bag, which you might run into a problem with that because the slider is kind of big. However, if you have it set up on a tripod, you won't have that problem at all. Let's talk about the pros of having a slider, or having this slider in general. For starters, it's very smooth, no hiccups. Although I will say, if you don't have a strong tripod, this one might not be for you. You might want to get a smaller one. I am in the market for a bigger tripod, mainly because this slider had given me problems when it came to the camera going far right, and then the slider started like tilting to the right, mainly because it was heavy. And same thing with the left. If you have a setup like mine's where the DSLR is like a little, you know, big, I wouldn't recommend like one of those cheap tripods that cost like $50, mainly because they don't carry a lot of weight, or the amount of weight it's able to carry before it starts tilting or leaning forward or backwards is too light for something like this. So if you're going to invest in this specific slider, which I'm going to leave down in the description below, I would also advise you to buy a hefty tripod. Another pro for this slider in specifically, or just sliders in general, is getting that buttery smooth pan, moving forward, moving backward shots that you normally couldn't get handheld. Unless you own a gimbal and you know, want to set it up where you have to balance it and everything. In my opinion, I feel like setting up a gimbal takes longer than setting this up. But unless you have a gimbal or like a small stabilizer, you're not going to get that clean shot, which a lot of the, you know, high-end YouTubers kind of use nowadays. So I would invest in it, especially if you're shooting products, or if you're doing reviews like myself, where I'm doing a review of this. You want to get shots that you can pan, you want to get shots that you can tilt, and just get those buttery smooth movements to where your films look more cinematic and just more, you know, just you look more advanced, you look more pro. Another pro is that it comes with a remote, so you don't technically have to move the slider with your own bare hands. You can actually set it into auto mode, and all you have to do is just click and it moves by itself. Now, granted, I would tell you to watch it because, especially for mines, again, I don't have a tripod that's like hefty enough. So once it gets to the far right or to the far left, it starts tilting, and you don't want to damage any of your equipment. So I would advise you to watch it, but for the most part, you don't have to push anything. All you have to do is set the slider up on your tripod, set the camera on, and click a button. You can go in auto mode, you can go in manual mode if you want to, where you could just hold the button and then move to the right, move to the left. You can stop it whenever you want to, and it's very easy. It doesn't take that much to learn, and you have a pretty nice clean shot. But enough about the pros. Let's talk about the cons, because I know that not everything in this world is perfect, or nothing in this world is perfect actually. The only con I have for this one so far that I've seen in the past, my light died. The only big con that I could think of right now, since I've only had this slider for a couple days, almost a week now, is the fact that it's very big. So again, if you have a smaller space like I do, you might have to readjust everything just to try to get the slider to fit. It's very large. I can't tell you the exact dimensions. Can't even see the dimensions on my camera, but it's wider than this shot right now. Like probably this big. It's still not accurate enough for the camera, but that's a very big slider. So if you don't have the space, I advise you to try to get a smaller slider. If I find some, I could put in the links. I could put the links down in the description as well. But for the most part, you can make it work even if you buy this one specifically. You just kind of have to move things around, but it's not terribly huge to where it's going to take up too much space, but it's also not small to where you can put it anywhere and think that it's going to work, because trust me, you're going to run into some problems. Overall, do I recommend this one by GVM? And I would say yes, I do recommend. It does come in at $400. It's $350, but after tax it's probably gonna be $400 depending on where you live, which is not a bad price considering motorized sliders are very expensive. A lot of movie makers or big time Hollywood filmmakers use sliders or use advanced dolly systems to where, I don't know if you guys have ever seen, but when they're sitting down they're just kind of like rolling in the chair. That's like an advanced version of this motorized slider. But even, you know, the smaller ones for YouTubers like the Rhino R2 is like in the thousands. So this is definitely recommended for somebody that's looking for a motorized slider but has a low budget. I'm completely upset that my light went out, but anyways, until the next video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I will see you guys later. Bye.